My boy's got the Miami style dial.
Bro,
Look at he got the shades. He got the fucking shades on. He is Surge. He's been a good influence, man. That nigga's been leading by example. Um, do you actually talk to him often? Because I know you guys are. I was gonna ask you about that about mentorship. Is that the person that you mentor with, or do you have somebody else that you talk to?
oh, me and Serge are accountability partners in the CEO network. So yeah, we talk, touch bases. He's been busy and I've been busy since we got back from Miami, so we ain't talked as much. But yeah, we were always there talking and with each other. So like something's going on, this and that, needing help. He's been really helping me with building up the Discord and everything for the coaching side for the monthly coaching and everything too. So he's been really helping a lot with that.
I haven't really talked much with my accountability partner, which I should. I should take the first step and reach out. I'm the type of dude that like it's like with women, you know what I'm saying? I reach out, I try a few times with women specifically. I'll try a few times, bitch, I'm not gonna chase you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not, I understand it's my job to like, you know, but I'm not gonna chase you.
Right.
And
Can you guys
I
hear
think
me?
he's busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could loud and clear cap.
Ah, cool. Sorry
Yeah.
about
Yo,
that.
you ain't hear me say this, man. But I was like, that Miami lifestyle got you. You got the shades on. You looking
Oh
all
no,
Miami'd out.
these are not actual shades to go outside. These are blue glasses for the screen when I work. It just helps
Oh,
with the computer.
word, word,
What?
word, word,
Yeah.
I never
word.
thought
Very
about
smart.
that.
Super
So
important
like
though.
the cool thing about them is that I use them for my streaming channel because they're the Tony Stark glasses. So for like all the people that know the glasses in my stream, it's like an insider. So it's like really fun.
That's
Got you. You gonna have me get a pair of those.
bro. I've been getting
Yeah.
headaches from looking at the screens all the time, bro. That
Bruh.
help with all that shit.
Yeah, and I mean they don't have to look like this. Some of them just look like normal glasses and like, but
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, they help a lot. I used to get really bad headaches because I work on a computer all day. So even if you just wear it for the nighttime or like in the afternoon, it definitely helps.
Yeah,
Okay.
hell yeah. I just bought a light for my place. So when I do record at home, the lighting is better. And man, that within itself is super fucking bright. When you add lighting to your house, extremely bright. So maybe
Yeah.
those would help. Those would help.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Serge, man, how's everything? How's everything going on with you?
Good, man. Right now, like yesterday was a good day. We were really busy. Me and Sid actually went to look at a duplex he's gonna buy. So I got to see like how he does this whole thing, and we actually got to talk to an agent, go into the property here in Miami, and like it was a it was a good property for him. I think if he get the financing to work, it'll work because like we got there, the agent's like, you know what, just letting you guys know, we're taking this off the market after today. And we're like, why? Did someone close on it? They're like, no, the sellers are so frustrated because they had an offer in and they were going through the closing process and their financing couldn't fall in place. So they spent a month and a half with this buyer and it fell through, it didn't work. And the sellers are like, fuck this, like we don't want to go through this again if people can't get financing for it. So Sid got lucky because he's like, I told him, I'm like, I think Sid or I could come up with the financing. Like, no, and I'm like, don't you doubt us. Like, we will come up with the financing. He's like, how about this? He's like, I'm still gonna take it off the market, but if you guys could come up with the financing, just hit me up and it's yours. So basically, there's no competition at this point for Sid. I think he's gonna close on a really good investment property soon. It's gonna
Very
be
nice.
huge.
Very nice.
Hell yeah. Bro, why
Yeah.
why do you think is that like and I'm just do you think that's more of a psychological play? Like what's the bad? And I don't know, but what's the bad in like them keeping it in the market? Why the fuck? What's so bad about them continuing to keep? Yeah, somebody didn't follow through on financing or whatnot, but how does that like negatively affect them? It's like okay, that how did that affect you in a negative way? Your sound is off, bro. Your sound is off.
Yeah. Can't hear you. Did you flip that mic up? I mean, the main thing I think is just like what being frustrated of your time being wasted when you kind of thought, this was done and over with. Now you starting to get some money come in, then everything falls through. Some people just get so frustrated with certain things. They're like, fuck it, and just be done with it. It's almost like a mechanic when he's working on something, he gets frustrated and he just has to walk away. But the mechanic walks away because he knows he's coming back later and he needs to relax. But some people just get frustrated in certain situations, like, man, well, fuck it, and then they just walk away entirely.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it too. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, no,
But
with
that-
the seller specifically, what happened with him was like the property already cash flows for him. So it's like, it's not like he's losing money. So for him, he's like, fuck this, I'd rather not deal with it and just keep getting my 2 to 3K a
Gotcha.
month and
Okay,
just
that makes
stick
sense.
with what I have. Yeah, he's like,
Okay.
it's just a headache to have to go through it again. Because they're trying to get rid of it because of also somebody in their family passed away. So they're in an estate, and what happens when that happens is that certain types of financing can't cover that type of, I don't know why it can't cover it. Like FHA won't work on it. So because they're also dealing with a family passing away and personal things, for them, it's like the last thing they want to fucking give a shit about. Probably it's kind of like, let me just keep making my monthly cash flow and then I'll just leave it alone. But yeah, I'm hoping Sid gets it. I think everything's lining up for him to pull the trigger. So long as the inspection comes back with the roof and the plumbing, everything looks squared away, it's gonna cash flow him an easy $2,000 to $3,000, guys. Yeah,
We're talking net, or this is
this is profit. Like I did the calculations, and
wow.
yeah, man, it's a big one.
Even
That's why I told them,
even if it's a fraction of that, but fuck.
dude, yeah, it's a lot because it's a duplex, and the way it's broken up, one of them has 3 bedrooms, the back one has 2, and then there's technically a third one. It's a converted garage. That's not officially a triplex,
Mhm.
but because he can do that, by the time it's all said and done, it should cash flow like $2,000 to $3,000. That's as a long-term rental. If he could find a way to pull off a short-term rental, that's an easy 5 to 6 bands. Like, it's gonna be a big deal. Like, it's a huge deal. Like, I was kind of like, bro, if you don't find a way to close on it, let me know, because I will put my financing up for you just so that you can get this property. Like, even if you just
Wow.
do a small cut of it, because
That's
yeah.
funny because at first I was like, I thought you would say, I'll figure out a way to do it, but you ended up saying I'll figure out a way to help you get it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That
because to
speaks that
me, it's
speaks
like
volume
I
on you.
want, yeah, I would want him to win, like I really want him to get it, because for me, it's like there's gonna be plenty of opportunities, and just getting him that W for me, and not taking like the whole thing. That's like, for me, that's better.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, bro, the goal of today, just so you know, the goal of today is really to continue bringing value, right? Just in conversation, as much as possible. And Leonard, he's obviously in the social media space. So if we could somehow bring quality questions to him to get him rolling, right? Because it's a lot more pressure when we talk to the camera by ourselves, right? We were just
Got
talking
it.
about this before. It's about being narcissistic. So even if it's a conversation you guys already had, even if it's something that you've already asked him, let's think big picture to get him rolling in his zone, if you will. And that
Okay.
way we're going to create content from it and just bring value to people that are listening and just have more content to put out and kind of go from there.
Got it. So I guess what you're saying is like I'm interviewing him, right? I'm asking him questions.
That's the goal, yes. But we could freestyle it as well. Again, that's my middle name, bro. Is freestyle.
No, I
I
would
think
love this because I've actually, so I've been doing something on my TikTok, my personal one. I've
yeah.
actually been going on TikTok lives and joining on people's debates, or just joining on people's things to just talk. So I have a list of like 20 interview questions that I've been going through with some people. So this would be perfect because I could kind of run through those and then just kind of go off the rip. And then, and if Bison comes up with anything, any follow-ups or anything new, that'll work too.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll just chime in, we'll freestyle. I already set a timer, just to be respectful of everyone's time and be thoughtful of it. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes and we'll build from there. We'll make adjustments as needed. and we'll go from there.
Okay,
Sounds good.
good, man.
Yeah, man. So, Leonard, do you want to go ahead and start with introducing yourself? Maybe tell the people what is it that you do? What is your focus? Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Leonard Firestone. I'm a social media coach, content creator, marketer as well. I help content creators help grow to get their payouts and their engagement higher, and then I help people that are wanting to be content creators, inspired to make content and monetize on social media. I teach them how to monetize that social media. That way, they can grow and quit their 9 to 5 and be financially secure. So just focus on trying to help people figure out what their goals is and help them reach those goals by content creation and monetization.
Nice. Serge, quick introduction. What's your name? Obviously, I just said it, but what are you about? What do you have going on?
Yeah, my name's Serge. I'm a software developer by day. I work at a 9 to 5 building websites, and as a side hustle, I actually run a real estate business, long-term and short-term rentals and Airbnb. So I specialize in that, and I'm also hoping to scale that business in order to achieve financial freedom and be able to focus on helping others do the same.
Wow, what a side hustle. What a side hustle. Usually when people say the side hustle, it's not that. And you, from what I hear, you're doing very big things in that space. You're being a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what questions did you have lined up? What questions did you have lined up, Serge, that you
Yeah,
typically
Leonard,
go through with
so
your
I'd love to get to know you a little bit more. So if you could tell us a little bit about your background and what actually got you started into this type of field and everything that you do, like what motivated you? What is it that truly inspired you to start getting into this space?
Absolutely. So I've been creating content for a little over a year and a half now. And what kind of got me started off was my son was telling me, he's like, "Hey dad, you need to start going on TikTok, making some TikToks because these content creators are really starting to make some money." And I was like, "Man, I was really invested in the music industry. I was like, music industry, they lie about the money they get and what they make." And I was like, "I don't think they're really making what they're making. They're just making it seem like that, right?" So I started doing some research. I was like, "No, there's actually some money to be made in content creation." So I went out there and I started making content on TikTok, and it started off like, trying to bring emphasis to music artists and independent artists like that to get them some more engagement. But I started reacting to some content because I started to find myself that when I was having bad days or I was in a dark place or I was depressed or whatever might have been attacking me that day, that where I was just not in a good mood, I could go to TikTok and start scrolling and start finding certain creators that give me a laugh, give me a little bit of joy, kind of reset my energy so I could go back in the day, finish my 9 to 5, go to work, go back home, take care of the kids and do all that. And it kind of rejuvenated me. So as I started to see it, I was like, well, if these creators are rejuvenating me and helping me throughout my day make my mood better, then why not go ahead and react to these creators? I can get them to in front of the people that see my stuff, get them some more attention. And then as well, hopefully by bringing them to other creator or to another audience, those creators can help brighten up other people's day like it brought up mine. So I was just basically trying to make my TikTok as a For You page almost. So you could come to my profile and get everything you needed to be rejuvenated from the day. You didn't have to scroll through anything else. You can come to my page and you could get it all. So I was just really trying to make content that was going to help brighten up people's day, to give them that energy so they didn't have to just feel like down, dark, or felt alone all the time. I wanted them to feel good and laughter and have joy. So started to do that. It started to take off. Within a couple months, I was hit 100,000 followers on TikTok. Took my content from TikTok, took it to Facebook, and then within my first year, I hit over 1 million followers and 1 billion views, and was averaging 120 million engagement a month.
Wow.
huge numbers.
That's awesome, man.
Freaking-
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's actually something I learned from Leonard was value, right? A lot of times I would think that value is only educational content, and that was my perspective, is I always wanted to kind of, talk on something that I was learning. But when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, he told me, yeah, his value to the world is just helping somebody else smile. You know what I mean? Just bringing joy to somebody else. So when I heard that, I was like, oh shit, you don't have to be so serious about this thing. You could actually have fun and still provide value to the world. So that's funny you asked that question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to go off of that question, What would you say, you spoke a little bit about your background and your experiences. What are some of the pivotal and experiences in your personal background in life that have shaped you today? Like, what are some struggles along the way that you face? What are the things you have overcome to put you in a position that, because content creation is not easy. A lot of people also just give up on that because there's a lot of adversity. It's not really easy. You have to keep posting every day. You have to develop a schedule. What shaped you in your personal life that have allowed you to do this with this type of business?
I think it was just the fact of like certain things in life that was I was always kind of pushed harder to kind of grow up quicker. Like and we kind of talked about this before we came on. My mom had health issues ever since I was born. So when I was at the age of 3, my mom was having serious issues of like heart attacks and strokes and stuff like that. And my dad was working full time, and my brothers and sisters was at school all the time. So I was the only kid at home. So at the age of 3, they was constantly teaching me with the play phone, like, hey, here's how you dial 911. Hey, this is our address. If mom does this, then you need to call cops and call 911. So at the age of 3, she did. She had a stroke when I was there home alone with her one day. I had to call the cops, had to call ambulance, get them their address. So then that was the starting foundation of constantly having to help and take care of mom and kind of stepping up as being a man in the house because dad was always working. Other brothers and sisters was gone. So I was sitting there helping mom. 4th grade, we found out she had a brain aneurysm, so she had to go have brain aneurysm surgery. So then we had to start teaching her how to re-walk, re-talk, eat, all those things all over again. And then by the time I was 13, I went and got my first paying job. I was working, taking money, giving money to dad. Dad helped pay some bills, get some things taken care of around the house. So I kind of always just been working and had that kind of worker's mentality. And then all through life, I just like making people laugh and bringing funny and bringing that joy. So some of the things just started to mold without me even knowing it. I had to start looking back and realizing like, oh, well, this moment made this a pivotal thing. So it was just experience of life, just going through everything that I was to the darkness sometimes, being alone sometimes, the family issues, everything just put me into a place to where I could kind of understand multiple situations and scenarios that people were in that would make them kind of feel like they were alone or maybe not in a great place. So I could kind of relate to them and help pull them out of that dark place. Because it's good to get out, but it's even better to get out and help others get out as well. So it was just those situations. And then in the music industry, I was always involved with music industry and helping artists get up. So that's kind of where the creativity came because I always used to have fun um, helping them to strategize and plan like how should the music videos be like this? Because I didn't always like the music videos where the rappers are standing there and they're just like performing. It's not like let's tell
Yeah.
a story. Let's put actual meaning and tell the story of what the song is and everything. So that kind of helped with the content creating was the music industry of seeing how I can tell a story and change it in so many different ways of content, whether it be serious, whether it be funny, or whatever it might be.
Nice, nice. Yeah, man, that's a very, very, very strong motivation and reason to do what you do. A lot of people have all types of backgrounds, but I think yours in particular really shaped you early on in your career and your life and allowed you to kind of apply a lot of these values to be able to go on forward. And I think that's gonna change a lot of people's lives as well. Today, you talked about how successful your social media is going and everything you're doing outside of that. How do you define success so for yourself? Like, what does it mean to you? Like most people, success is like, I need $1 million in the bank. I need to be riding that car. To you, what does success mean and how does that look like?
For me, success was being able to be financially free. And that doesn't mean a big amount. Like I had a set amount of money that I need to make a month just so I can be cool, set, be fine. I wouldn't have to go work and do a 9 to 5. So that was success for me, that I knew that I didn't no longer have to go clock into a job and bust my ass for somebody that was definitely getting the better end of the paycheck of the money of it, right? Because I would go out and do plumbing jobs and I was making $13 an hour at that time, but we'd go out and we'd make some days anywhere from $6 to $10,000 just alone on that one truck for the company. So I was like, I'm not even barely making $100 today. And they're making this. I was like, I got to figure out how I can make money myself and become a boss. So that was the success for me. I wanted to be able to spend more time with my kids. I wanted to be able to have the money to travel if I wanted to travel and just have the freedom that if I just said I wanted to get up and do something, I could just get up and do it. I didn't have to have the biggest house, the fanciest cars, or the biggest money in the bank, but I just wanted to be able to live a good, comfortable life and spend more time with my kids. So that's what success is for me.
Nice. Yeah. Basically live life and you're on your own terms,
Right.
which is the most amount of freedom anyone can ask for in the world today where everything kind of sucks your energy out.
Yeah.
Um, what are what are given like everything that you've been going through and everything you've done, how important are mentors to you? And are there any particular mentors that stick out in your head that have really shaped a little bit of who you are today?
Yeah, mentorship is huge, right? Because no matter what you're trying to do, there's somebody that you're looking up to that inspires you. So, whether you actually physically have somebody that's talking to you as a mentorship and giving you actual hands-on advice, or I think Nipsey Hussle said it best: "Is man, I'm stealing information all the time. If I see you say something in an interview, I'm taking it. I don't need to be in your presence. I'm watching everything you've done, and I'm taking it, little bits and pieces of what you said." So mentorship is always huge. So you just study people that is doing what you're wanting to do. And that's what I would tell first off. So for me, it was looking at Gary Vee a lot of times. First off, seeing how he was interacting, how he's talking, how he was dealing with things, because he kind of came from a background that was humble like mine was. He was starting off from the ground up and having to build. So Gary Vee was a really good one. Jordan Peterson was another one that I would watch just to see how he can convey um, his stories and his message in a way that actually would touch people. Even though it wasn't what I was doing, it was a way that I could see how he could use how what his content was, which was just talking to people, educating people in that value, but he could still resonate with them and get to a personal level that it you didn't feel like somebody was just telling you something. You felt like he's actually been through it and went through it, and that was hit and resonated a lot more. So I was studying things like that. But mentorship is huge just because if somebody's done what you're trying to do, or if you're doing something, somebody's already done it and succeeded. And if they've done it big enough, they left a footprint, and then there's a blueprint to do it. All you got to do is study them, watch them, pick up a book, and you can get to the same place. So I just study a bunch of people and then put that into mold to become my own style.
Oh
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
and
Yeah, it's like a shortcut, basically.
yeah, huge. Man, and I'm just curious on you, Serge. You know, you asking that question to me speaks volume on you. So if you'd be open to quick share a little bit about the mentors you've had in your life, um, yeah, I'd like to know from your perspective.
Yeah, for me, mentorship I've learned is everything. Having the right mentor and a brotherhood around you just could change everything you're doing and the speed at which you're doing it. And the reason I say this is because I grew up playing sports. I grew up having coaches. So I always grew up with that mentorship slash brotherhood around me. And every time I elevated to the next level, whether it was real estate, whether it was Airbnb, anything, I found even software engineering, I found that every time I did it, I ended up joining some sort of club. I ended up joining some type of work environment. I ended up joining some type of network. Or, like Leonard just said, I ended up learning from the people doing it that did it really well. And whenever I did that, it just sped up everything for me. And it allowed me to really push myself and put myself in a position to win and limit the risk I was taking because now I know what's going to happen versus me trying to guess my way through things. So I find it to be the most important thing if you're really trying to grow as quickly as possible.
Yeah, agreed.
Copy.
Now, Leonard, I know you've probably faced some obstacles along the way. Like, everything's not all sunshines and rainbows. So I'd be curious, like, what are some things that actually keep you motivated and inspired? Because, not everyone wants to wake up and post and do these things on social media, especially social media. You have to almost play a part. You're playing to entertain, to help people. So, when you're kind of going through the mud of things, what are the things that keep you motivated, and inspired?
Okay. Some of these are going to sound sinister, but I promise they're not sinister. It's just being a basic level.
Okay.
Uh, but one is, my kids, and then my overall goal is being financially free. So those are things that always constantly motivate me because I don't want to have to go back and work for somebody else when they're making the money and I'm doing the hard work. So that's one thing that's motivation for me. But for me too, is also just realizing that for me as a content creator, I am here as an entertainment purpose. So I have built my following off being here for them, making them happy, making them smile, and they come and search for that. So they don't necessarily, and like I said, it sounds sinister, but they don't necessarily care about you and what you're necessarily going through all the time because they're going through stuff and you're their release, right? You're their relief from what they've been going through. So if they're coming to you to get away from that, and then now they come to you and all they're hearing is your stuff and your problem, you're no longer
Mhm.
the release for them. So I had to learn that like my content wasn't where I needed to get my release and talk about that. Like they were here. I am here to provide for them and be there for them. I was almost as if I'm the mentor for them in that situation, right? So I couldn't backtrack. I had to find mentors and people that I can open up to and talk to, that when things are getting rough and when I am getting demotivated, I can be like, hey man, what's going on? I need some extra push. What you been going? And I find other content creators around me that I can call up and be like, hey man, I ain't feeling it. I don't want to film nothing today. Don't feel like it. It's just the same thing. I feel like I'm doing the same thing. I'm in a rut, this and that. And you can kind of talk to each other that's been there. It's like, man, you know, we all been there. It's this and that. Stay to the course. So for me, just staying motivated is remembering my why I started and keeping that a focus, and then keeping people around me that are going through the same thing that can help uplift me and I can help uplift them when we have downtimes, because we all got those moments.
No, yeah, that's amazing. And actually, the fact that you said it, like putting your ego aside and knowing that it's not about you, that in business and so many things could take you so far. And I think a lot of the times people never come to that conclusion. So I'm really glad that you shared that.
Yeah.
From all the projects that you worked on, all the achievements that you've had, what can you say are like the most satisfying ones, the ones that when you hit them, you're like, oh shit, like this is actually something I love.
My first million view video was it. And it's because like I had goals hitting. So like when I hit my first million view video, that was hit, because I never thought I was going to hit that. Like traction was going, but I was making content for almost like 6-7 months before I actually hit my first million view video. So when that hit, I was like, oh, okay, all right, this is great. Then when I hit 1 million followers, I was like, okay, this is great. But then I the biggest thing for me that was hitting was when I started watching my monthly engagement rise. And when I started first off, it was like at 30 million. I was like, man, this is really good. And it's climbing, it's like 50 million. I'm like, all right, how high is this gonna get? So I would be watching that. And then when it hit the 100 million, I was like, oh man, this is really, really good. So I was like, 100 million engagement a month. I was like, all right, let's see how far we can push this. So I was really pushing hard. And I think the highest I got it up to was about 230 million engagement in 1 month. And it was like you couldn't open up Facebook without seeing my face. Whether if I was on memes, I was making posts, I was posting reels. So it was those things, because it was a little sign and a little bit in me like, okay, I am doing something right, because I didn't have to add no run no ads. I didn't have to run no promotion. This is strictly organic, and I'm hitting 200 million engagement in a month. I was like, all right, something I'm doing is right. So it kind of gave me just that little validation that I needed to know that, all right, this ain't a fluke. This ain't luck. This ain't something that just happened. This is something that has a process to it, and people are really resonating with the content and the message that I'm putting out.
Oh yeah, and oh, go
did
ahead.
you start off early on not having success, or was it something that you're gifted with immediately? Once you started posting the content, it just started to catch traction. Maybe talk a little bit on the history on that.
So I started making content on TikTok, I think it was June 2020. And then TikTok started blowing up for me October 2020. So I was probably from June till October, I was sitting around like 3,000 followers. And then in October, I put out a video that I reacted to. I posted it probably about 11 o'clock that night. I went to sleep, went to wake up to go to work in the morning. I woke up, I had 30,000 followers on TikTok, literally overnight. So I was like, okay, so this thing, so the next like month, I was so fascinated on why that video alone got me 30,000 followers overnight. So it's like, why did this work? Why did this? Okay, this, that, and just started to dissect it. And then I was like, okay, well, that's working. My reaction to it was this, the content of it was working. So I was like, I need to find more and more content like this. I was able to start to dissect and almost put a rating scale on content because of that. Kind of like how Michael Jordan always values his recruits or his scouts. He's like, he has the Jordan factor scale, which don't work too well for him. We already see how well Jordan gets talent for his teams, but that's kind of what it was for me. And I was like, all right, here's a 1 all the way up to a Jordan factor for me. And the Jordan factor was that shock and awe. You know, in the 90s, everybody talked about Jordan, even if they didn't watch football or watch basketball, right? They talked about Jordan. So that was it. I was like, even if nobody even gives a damn about this niche or has no particular interest in it, that content still has to grab everybody's attention. Even if I don't care if they don't like dancing. Well, if I have a dancing video, there's something in that video that's going to have to grab people, even that's not within that niche. So that's how I would start to learn how to gravitate people. Because that first video that went and took off, they got me 30,000 views, wasn't even in English. It was a Spanish video. It was a Spanish couple. Not a single lick of English was in that thing. So I was like, it doesn't necessarily matter what they're saying. It's just the matters of the content and everything else around it.
Wow, that was fire. You just gave the content creators the secret sauce on how to really pay attention to what they're posting, and that there's actually a formula. There's actually a way to start looking at the analytics and the data to help you push the content even further and help you grow. So yeah, man, thank you for sharing that. When it comes to like your personal life though, let's bring it back real quick to that. And your professional life, you know, it sounds to me like you're getting more and more busy. I'm pretty sure, like you said, you have a kid. You know, how do you maintain that balance? What is your strategy to maintain that professional and personal life? And how do you manage that when it gets a little bit too chaotic?
Yeah, because it definitely does get chaotic. That's one of the biggest things I still work on, trying to get the balance and everything, because going from a 9 to 5 work life and then to a content creation job where there is no clock out. You know, when you got a 9 to 5, you clock out, you know, hey, this is my hometown, this and that. My home time, I'm out, I'm clocked out. But when you got jobs like this, you have to sit yourself down and be like, hey, these hours of the day, we're not doing nothing. We're spending time with family. We're doing something that re-energizes us, so we're motivated for the next day. Because so many people will keep working, and then they don't do nothing for themselves that gives them energy back. So that's something I learned from Mr. Beast. Like all the work that he does and everything he does, when his downtime to get rejuvenated and re-energized, he'll sit there and play just board games. That's his piece. So whenever he feels like he's too stressful, he's not motivated, he'll sit down with all of them and they'll start playing board games, and that's how he gets his energy back. So it was just knowing that at certain times of the day, I gotta step away from work, I gotta go spend time with kids, and I gotta make time for them, because that's what the overall purpose of this was, for me to have more time with my kids. So it's not an easy task, but you got to learn it sometimes when you're doing this stuff. It's like, hey, you got to stop, step away, and go spend time and rejuvenate, or else you're just going to keep working yourself till you're tired, and then you're not going to be any good for anything.
Yeah, and if anything, taking those breaks probably put you in the right mindset again to want to keep doing it and remind you of like, this is exactly why I'm doing it, and help you get over some of those hurdles, you know?
Yeah.
What are some mistakes and failures that you kind of hit along the way that perhaps you had to learn from in order to either grow it faster or just all just avoid it altogether?
Uh, Community guidelines and violations. That has been the biggest obstacle, I think, for most creators, because so many platforms don't necessarily have a clear cut what the rules are. You'll see some people can do it and get away with it, then you don't get away with it. So that's been the biggest thing, is learning, all right, you know what the rules say, but where's the actual line? Because everybody's line's a little different in this content creator world. So how far can I really get before I get in trouble? What can I say? And it was just learning. Sometimes it's just the tweak of certain words you use, how you say certain things, because a lot of these platforms now have AIs doing all their community guidelines. So they don't get context. They don't get jokes. They don't get none of that stuff. So they'll just see you say something and they're like, oh, that's bad. And then they start hitting you for it. So it's relearning some of the things of how you word things and say things, tricks to because there's a lot of things content creators do on their content that hinders them in the algorithm, and they don't even realize that they're doing it, that they're almost getting what they like to call shadow banned, but you're not really shadow banned, but you're not getting the attention you deserve because you're already doing so many things the platform doesn't want you to do off the jump that you're doing from posting your content. So it was community guidelines, and then just knowing how to truly make the algorithm work for me rather than I'm working for the algorithm.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And it sounds to me like you got a pretty good understanding of the industry just from what you've learned. Can you share a little bit about maybe current trends or things happening in the industry that you might be excited for, or that you're actually like, I'm not sure about this. I hope this doesn't happen. You're a little bit concerned about where it might be going.
This AI stuff, it's good and it's bad. I love it because it can help with so much of stuff that you're doing that makes everything a lot easier, especially in the content creator world. But also at the time, AI is coming in and taking over so much that it's kind of hindering in certain situations and hindering some creativity, because so many people rely on AI to do it, that we're losing the creative process and we're losing the art factor to some of this content that we're creating. It's like, at the end of the day, yeah, we're trying to make money. Yeah, we're trying to make a living, but this is still an art form within itself, whether it's comedy, music, no matter what you're doing, there's still an art form to it. And you're doing it for an overall purpose. That's not the money. If you're doing it mainly for the money, then you know you're not going to last long. So it's just that art form. And I think AI is kind of taking that away a little bit. That's making it so more analytic and logical, which that's fine. But if anything that's art and created, you still need to have sometimes imperfections is a beautiful thing about the content and about the art process, because you can go look at many painters paintings and there's mess ups all over, their stroke techniques wrong and it's not, and that's what makes it so unique and so beautiful about it, is that it's not perfect. So I think that's some of the things within the content creator world that we're getting a little bit too much on the side of AI sometimes, that is hindering us as content creators and our creativity in the art.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, and then with AI and like everything changing so fast, I mean, how do you stay updated with all this stuff? Like, how do you continue learning the field and continue to stay on top of everything that's changing? Because it's technology, it changes so fast.
Yeah, constantly scrolling through Facebook and TikTok and all these social media apps, seeing what people are going, reading through comments, checking news articles, just staying connected with people like y'all that got other area expertise in other fields, so I can get a knowledge what's going on. But it's just my whole life motto is be a sponge, absorb as much information and as much knowledge as you possibly can, even if you don't think that it's going to pertain to you now. There's always life lessons and stuff. Like we have meetings sometimes and they're like in there talking about selling watches and doing that stuff, and I was like, that's not a field I want to be in there, but there's still life lessons I can learn from this person that I can then apply to my business. Even though what they're overall doing isn't what I'm wanting to do, there's still steps and processes that they've done that I can learn from and grow from.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that. Always keep learning, always have an open mind and just keep pushing towards your goal. Um, if I was to get started today, let's say, I'm brand new to this. I understand about TikTok, I understand the social media platforms, but I don't really know too much and I need to get educated. Where can I get started? What would you suggest for someone like myself that just wants to get in, even if it's just to learn about it? How would you advise them to go in what particular path?
Definitely would just figure out what your niche is first. That would be a big thing, just to have a general idea, because it can change later on for your niche, but at least know what you kind of want to do that's gravitating now. So that can help you with whatever your mentor process is, right? Because you're going to want to be a creator, content creator, and there's so many different vast ways of doing it. And there's so many mentors and gurus that can help you, but it's going to be a lot better for you if you're getting a mentor and a guru that at least understands the niche or the overall goal of what you're trying to get through. I offer social media coaching. We teach people and we go with them on monthly. We're talking there. We have calls every week. You get one-on-one access to me where you can talk and call to me, get help with your problems that way. Because I've done a lot of things. I've made a lot of mistakes, so you can learn from my mistakes. So it's teaming up with other creators that's been doing this a while, that actually have experience and know what they're talking about, so you can learn from their mistakes and not repeat it. Because I have made tons of mistakes and I've had to pay the cost for it. So it's just figuring out what's in that niche and then finding people that's in that niche that can kind of help you to understand, because everything's a little bit different and nothing truly is out there in black and white to try to teach you what is there. It's, you just really got to get a part of the community and talk to people that's going to help you get a better understanding.
Gotcha, gotcha. And I know you just mentioned that you have your own community or you also help teach people. Can you tell us a little bit of how that looks like for anyone that might be listening that might be interested in perhaps joining your program or anything that you're working on?
Yeah, so we actually have two programs going right now. So we have what's is the Meme Profits program, which is basically just teaching you how to monetize memes. You don't have to be on camera. You don't have to make content. It's literally just posting your memes and making money from that. Affiliates programs, monetization on and off a platform, building up your website so you have all that done. That whole Meme Profit situation is going to get you to learn how to monetize social media without ever having to be on a camera. Now, the social media monthly coaching stuff is teaching you everything from content creation, from memes all the way up to creating your own content, finding your niche, what you want to do, how you need to be filming, how many times a day you need to be posting, when you need to be posting, what hashtags, what trends, what effects, what angles, all these things. We're there talking about that. So you're going to get the full information that I have, that I've helped with other creators. I've helped over 50 creators grow. I've helped over 30 creators hit monetization to where they can quit their jobs now. So you're going to get all that information there. You, like I said, you have access. So you're going to be able to ask me certain things, ask questions before you go out there and do it and have to get trouble for it. Because if you go out there and you make some of these same mistakes I made, you're going to be in trouble for 30 days to 4 months sometimes. So it's a lot better to learn though. So you come in there, we get calls weekly. We're going to talk about it. You're going to get all the information. I know a lot of people say, don't give away all the sauce. I give away all the sauce. There's nothing off the table. You can ask me anything and I'll answer it for you and lead you in the right way.
Oh, there you go, guys. There you go. If you guys really want to get into the space, he's the guy to hit up. So make sure you do that. And I have two final questions for you. These are a little bit off topic, a little bit more fun, just to kind of get to know you a little bit better. But like, what are, you mentioned Mr. Beast. I'm very curious. What would be like your top three, either athletes, superstars, YouTubers that like have truly kind of inspired you, or you kind of look at those cats and you're like, I can relate to them. This is kind of how I feel about, myself as well.
Okay, so I'm gonna even go with some actors here just because
Okay.
Tommy. So this is gonna be a little bit crazy of a mix. So Mr. Beast is definitely one of them that's in the top for me, just because of everything that he's done and how he's grown and stayed dedicated and self-taught. It's a lot of things that I resonate with. So Mr. Beast is definitely one, even outside of all the good work that he does and the philanthropist work that he does. Another one is Jim Carrey for me, just because of like how he made shows. He's TV, like in Living Color, the movie. Like, there's not nothing that man did that wasn't good. Whether if it was serious, comical, heartbreaking, like he just hit it, and he was able to get those expressions and convey those expressions across. So Jim Carrey was another one that was just a huge impact to me, and he understands the art form of comedy and everything as well. And another one for me is Dave Chappelle. Just seeing how you could just stand there and captivate an audience's attention with just an art form. Like, Dave Chappelle just goes up there in such a beautiful way of telling stories and comedy. And like, you get so lost in it, like you forget that you're at a comedy show and you feel like somebody's really telling you a story until that punchline comes. You're like, "Ah, I forgot that this wasn't even a real thing." Like, we was just, so his art form, how he does things, his professionalism. And then the fact that like Dave Chappelle was able to walk away from something that most people wouldn't have been able to walk away from, to still have his morals and understand that the art form was something more true to him. That was something that I really looked up to and admired as well.
Oh yeah, that's amazing, man. I love Dave Chappelle too, so I'm really happy, man. And Jim Carrey, man, you mentioned some really solid ones. I'm not gonna lie, those are like my favorite growing up as well. Finally, what are some of your hobbies and interests? Like, what is it that you do outside? I know you have kids, but outside of kids, what is it that Leonard likes to do for fun? Whether it's going to the shooting range, whether it's, going to the beach, like what is it that you enjoy doing yourself?
Going to the gym is something I enjoy. Sporting events, basketball games, football games. I love going to comedy shows. So going to the comedy clubs and watching shows like that is a lot of fun. Those are things that rejuvenate me. So it's really just sports and comedy for me, and then getting outdoors and out in the wilderness sometimes. Not nothing too crazy, but go walks, check things out. I'm not gonna go hike and go camping for like weeks on end to stay away, but just getting outside, getting into the nature a little bit. But yeah, I mean, sports and comedy is always for me. It can't never go wrong with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, look, man, I don't have too many other questions. I don't know if Bison, if you have anything else you want to kind of ask him really quick.
No, everything has been solid. In fact, I wanna say, dude, you're a great interviewer.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Like the way you rolled off on your questions, I learned a lot from you. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of value provided for sure.
Yeah, I grew up like it's going back to mentors. When I used to go to USC, I had joined a club where my professor would actually interview high value individuals, similar to Fresh and Fit, and he would do it in front of our class. So it allowed me to really, we interviewed like CEOs from like Spotify, all kinds of things. I got to see Stan Lee before he passed away, the creator of Marvel, and we got to see that interview. So growing up watching my own professors do this, and then seeing mentors like Fresh and Myron do this, and always being around it, have really allowed me to kind of get an idea of how to do it myself. So I've been practicing it quite a bit lately, just because I really wanted to kind of get into this space. But enough about me. As a final thing, Leonard, is there anything else you like our listeners to know about your journey, about what you're offering, maybe about the courses that you're gonna have? When are they gonna open up? What are your final thoughts on everything?
Yeah, no, man, this has been great. I really appreciate talking, and I always have a fun blast talking and helping people and giving an insight. It's really enjoyable for me. Meme Profits is open, available now for y'all to go sign up. We've already been doing the course. It's a 6-week course. We're already on week 3, but each course and each weekly live webinar is always recorded and it's back. So even if you join now, you're still going to be able to go back, watch all that stuff multiple times if you want to, if you need to. So it's there for you on access. And then even after the 6 weeks class is over, we're going to be in there jumping in. It's either going to be every week or every 2 weeks that we're going to be jumping in there after this course is over with to talk to y'all, say, hey, what's going on? What troubles have y'all been going with? And try to help y'all to understand what's been going on within that Meme Profit. So you can go to memeprofits.com/money. You can sign up for that. And then the coaching course is still getting put together. It's going to be very out, or it's going to be out very soon. And I'll have that link pushed out there on all my social media platforms. We're still just tweaking a little few things to make sure y'all's getting true value and getting a lot of things. And you know what you're getting when you're signing up as well.
Nice. Well, there you have it, guys. Whether you don't want to be a brokey, whether you just want to learn about content creation, or you just want to know Leonard a little bit more, get to know him a little bit, feel free to reach out to him. This has been an amazing experience, man. Thank you for sharing and coming on here. And yeah, man, that wraps it up for me.
And I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Nice. Yo, so we were just talking about this, Serge. So yeah, whatever. So what we're gonna do is I'm actually just gonna edit it. You know what I mean? So yes, we're still recording, but if anything, that was a perfect time to cut whatever needed to be cut and just kind of go from there. But one of the things that I got the okay with Leonard was just being real as well, right? So there's this transition that we have when we hit record versus not. And I always found that when it's not recording, when we're being genuine people, there's still a lot of value being pulled, right? There's so much content that at the times I'm like, fuck, bro, like, why did I stop recording? Or, you know, like, why did we stop? The reality is still happening. And I'm always looking at it from a value creation perspective. It's like, okay, yes, we get value from it, but why stop? So yeah, we'll start winding down soon. It hasn't even been an hour since I hit record. But yeah, first of all, shout out to you, bro. You did a fucking phenomenal job at throwing these goddamn questions out, bro. From thinking about the next one to the way you related, and you actually, instead of just going to the next one, which is something I kind of did on my first couple interviews, you dialed into what he said, you agreed with him a little, and then you went ahead and asked the following question. So
segue beautifully, bro.
Yeah, segue is the word. Segue, super good.
Yeah, no, because I was really listening, and I was, even my questions as I was looking at them, the thing is that I wasn't going in the order. There was times where it's like, you know what, it's better if I tag this other one in because it's really relating to what he's saying. So it allowed me to kind of hit note on the things he's saying and then segue, like you guys said, into the one that relates the most to what's happening. So yeah, man, ChatGPT is amazing.
Okay, so would you ask these questions to everyone? So you would pretty much go about just asking these similar questions to everyone, or like how would you approach that?
It depends. Like I've had some of these interviews like on TikTok where we started with a questionnaire, and this guy was pretty talented where he's like, oh, I know how to do music, I know how to play the guitar. And I was like, okay, bet, freestyle, let's do something. And out of nowhere, he's like, okay, he was like, give me 5 words. And I'm like, okay. And I gave him 5 words. And he was like, all right, and give me a genre. And I'm like, heartbreak. And like, he started the beat and he just went off for like 35 minutes. And like, I was just like, yo, so like the interview was just like more after that, the interview kind of broke down and we were still asking questions, but it was just different because it's just like, he brought something to the table I was not ready for. And that genuine value add from him being able to do something just off the rip without me expecting it made it so genuine and so legit. So yeah, I wish I would have recorded it, like, because it was on his live. The way I've been doing it is I go on people's lives, I hit them up, and because I have over 1,000 whatever followers, I can now join as a multi-guest on their call. So I always bug them on the comments. I'm like, interview. And they're like, interview, like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, yeah, interview, like, let's go live. Let me ask you some questions. Some people are a little scared. They're like, oh, this guy's going to troll me, blah, blah, blah. Some people want to test the waters. They're like, ask me a few questions first. And if it seems normal, I'm down. And then finally, some people are like, yeah, let's just do it. And yeah, so far it's worked out. It's pretty cool because some people really have like genuine, like, cool stuff that they want to share, but they're too shy to do on a regular basis, you know? So it's really cool.
Yeah, and to the point that we spoke on earlier, a lot of times they just don't have somebody to ask these questions, right? So if somebody goes in and asks quality questions, it allows them to express themselves truly. Have you guys, any of you guys tried the going live on YouTube, where you could actually collab on YouTube and two people go live? Have any one of you guys ever tried it?
Mm-mm. I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm barely getting to deal with YouTube the past like 3 or 4 months though. So that's something else. And that's the thing for me. Like I gotta get better with live and stuff because like I never have people to go live with. I'm always live by myself. And bro, on the camera when I'm sitting there talking to nobody, bro, it's not a great fucking situation. It's not a good live.
Where
Yeah.
do you typically like start transitioning to? Like what do you tend to start? Like, why don't you find it's good? Where do you start gravitating to?
Because I don't have talk. I'm not the greatest of small talker yet, right? So trying to small talk, bring up topics and conversations and ideas in just a situation that's literally just you and you got to wait for, and there's always a delay. So even when you say something, chat ain't catching up for like a minute or so. So like you don't know what's really actually hitting. You just got to be confident in everything. And especially like if you're sitting here and you're doing comedy stuff, haha, you're making a joke, but you're the only one laughing here. You don't know if everybody else is laughing. You
Yeah.
Got you.
no clue of how to judge the audience. So I just never know how the topics are going. So it's like I don't have good topics or good things to go off with in live, and I don't banter back good with chat. I need somebody else on a screen with me.
It's funny you say that because that's the reason I started jumping on other people's lives. Because I was like, well, this way I could provide value and people could kind of like, oh, who is he? Check out my profile perhaps. But when I would do my own, that's also a thing that started, it's hard because like some people would join. One that was kind of successful was like, I would ask people on the screen, like, tell me, what do you do for work or something? And then somebody actually engaged. But the issue is that not everyone could go live on TikTok because they don't all have 1,000. So some people are stuck in the comments. Some people are a little bit too shy to get on camera. So I've realized 2 things. It's always good if at least on TikTok, it's always good to do it with at least 1 or 2, like us 3, we start it because then we're carrying a genuine conversation, and then people are more inclined to group think and join that way.
Yeah.
And then the other way, in terms of when you do it by yourself, and I'm studying this man because I wouldn't say he's a master of it, but he's really good at it. I'm pretty sure you know him, Leonard. Colin Cowherd. He does a morning like radio show, but he does it all by himself. He's like one of the few radio people that does 3 hours of sports by himself. He has like a co-person kind of, every once in a while kind of chiming in. But I remember listening to him when I was younger, and I was like, well, the way he has it is he's just running a show. He's just going through topics and things that he's interested in. And it doesn't really matter how people react. And that's almost the mentality you have to have. But it's weird because you want the feedback, but it's like I think when you're going by yourself, you almost have to set it up like you're running your own 1-hour show. You have an intro, a middle, an outro, you have selected topics, and then you just have to do you. And then if you resonate with people, those are the people that are going to stick around and start following you and stuff. And that's probably the only way to do it by yourself, where you're not trying to constantly see what feedback you're getting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because like, bro, I got other content creator friends, and they make a killing off of TikTok live, bro.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if y'all know who Jacoby Ray is. He's a comedian.
Okay.
But bro, he pulls in like 12-15,000 off of TikTok live a month. That's not his
Wow.
content either. That's just TikTok live, bro. Then he just goes up there and they battle and people this and that and they send. And it's like, bro, first off, how do you do that? Because you're not technically supposed to ask. So how the fuck are you getting these motherfuckers just to willingly send shit? Because that's an art within itself.
Yeah.
And the thing I hate about TikTok is that you only get like a 30% of what they send.
The crazier part too about TikTok is like, if you're hosting a live, let's say, and someone comes on your live and it's just mad crazy and it's dropping F-bombs, dropping all the words TikTok doesn't like, your channel could still get banned for someone else coming on board. So like even people that do this successfully, a lot of times I'm also wondering like, how do you not accidentally invite the wrong person, or how do you moderate it so well? So it's all an art form that I'm also learning myself. But there's definitely money to be made, and perhaps TikTok might not be the right platform, but it's one of the few platforms that I currently know of, and this is the reason why I pick it over YouTube when it comes to the lives, where your lives could be seen by anyone and everyone when you're doing it. You get an opportunity to get guests that way. YouTube is kind of like selective. You got to send a link for people to join the live. And then unless you already have a subscriber fan base. And I've never done Instagram or Facebook. I don't know if that pushes it to strangers. I'm not sure if you would know this, Leonard.
Yeah, Facebook it does. It definitely pushes
Oh, nice.
strangers and everything like that because it's going to with Facebook, especially on a personal profile. The cool thing about Facebook is they send notifications out in so many different ways. So like for me as a content creator, and I had to learn this from a hard struggle too, is that when I go comment on something, it notifies my followers that I commented on something. All right.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I had to learn this because I saw the girl's profile picture once, and I was like, "Oh, okay, let me go holler at this chick real quick." I liked her little profile. Luckily, I didn't say nothing too crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you looking good today? This and this and that." That girl had like 20 likes and like 5 comments, bro. I came back like an hour later. She had like 1,000 likes, 500 comments, and people's like, "Why did I get tagged in this? Why did I get this and this?" Leonard, you get notifications for this? I was like, I gotta watch what the fuck I do.
Yeah.
I comment, I'll get caught. But then on the
That
aspect
is
of that,
wild.
I learned that I can use that as a strategy too. That I can go comment in certain places and then drive traffic there just by commenting. I don't even have to share.
Yeah.
I don't have to go tell y'all to do nothing. I can just go in there and genuinely engage and interact with that content. And you're going to be notified to go mess with it too. And as long as I built that trust with my followers, that they know, like, well, if he's engaging with it, it must be good. I'm gonna go engage with it as well.
Bro, that is some sauce. Imagine, okay, so imagine that if this, let's say I have a product that you actually like, you could come and comment on my thing, and because you're bringing me all this exposure, I would give you like 100 grand, or like not 100 grand, $100 or like $1,000. I could actually pay you for you commenting on stuff because of the fact that you are bringing like an audience to my stuff, which is kind of cool. Yeah, yeah, that's like another way for you to actually monetize.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's kind of like what we do with the meme things. Is like telling people like, all right, well, you the good thing, like, yeah, we're teaching you about the memes and then the meme profits, but you're also getting access to us as well because they're like, well, how do I get started off? You need all this. Well, you got the community, you got me, and there's 2 other creators in the meme profits group. So we know the strategies that like, all right, we shared, we built up our stuff. So now we teach you like, all right, if you share your memes and you get monetized, you get paid for the likes, the comments, the shares, you get paid for all of that. But how do you build up that engagement? Well, you have guys like us come in there and we share it. Not only do we share it, we come in there and comment on it. And even if you ain't got nothing but 30 followers, and we've had some people already within the Meme Profits group, they start up a page, they got 2 followers, but they shared like 3 to 5 memes. And me and one of the other guys go either interact with it or share it. And they're already over 20,000 engagement within their first week just
Wow.
because we're commenting on it and we're sharing it. So we can literally drive traffic. And that's why, like, if I can build up a community of 100 creators like this, fuck the algorithm. We will be able to have an algorithm and run it and dictate what it's going to do. They won't be able to dictate to us how we want to do it. So it's like we'll be able to just basically just cause a crashing of a tidal wave no matter where we want everybody to go, and we can make the trends ourselves.
And you would
That
say
is
this
awesome.
specifically for Facebook, utilizing this strategy specifically for Facebook, or do you think duplicating this strategy for other platforms would make sense?
For right now, it's Facebook because of the way Facebook's algorithm works and how it's able to share in multi-content purposes. So there's so many ways for you to do this rather than where TikTok, the only way you got to do this is with videos, right? With
Yeah.
YouTube, the only way you got to do it is with videos where I can go post memes, I can post pictures, I can post quotes, I can tell you about my crazy day, and then I can post videos as well as Facebook. So you can you have more of variables within Facebook that you can keep constantly plugging and playing and trying different things to make it work for yourself. The way I tell people is that every other platform like TikTok and YouTube's algorithm is like Main Street, and you got to make sure your content hits Main Street or else you're not going to get on the algorithm. But with Facebook, it's more like a tree's root systems. Yeah, there's the bigger root systems that are better, but once you share something, it goes off to another root path. And which one of your friends shares something from it, then it goes off to another, because everybody's news feed on Facebook and everybody's algorithm is different because you like certain things, Serge likes certain things, I like certain things. So even when I post something today, I got 1 million followers. Not all my 1 million followers are going to see it today. Some see it today, some see it 5 days from now, because everybody's algorithm is a little bit different.
I got a question, bro. So is this all, do you do all of this? I have 2 questions actually. Is this all off of a Facebook page or personal, or does it matter?
It matters. I do both. So I got personal now. For me, I wanted to build up a funnel. So I built up the personal page because it has more ways of getting organic, because you got the suggested friends. When you or when you add a friend, then all their friends get suggested to you. So it's a way that you can build. And I tell people too, like, be strategic with the friends that you're adding up at first, because for me, I went and I was like, okay, I started making content. Then when people would share my content, I would go look at those shares. Okay, they shared it. They didn't get no likes, no comments. Okay, all right, no. But then I go to somebody else. Okay, well, they got 200 likes and they got like 50 shares from it. All right, I'm gonna add this person as a friend. So now that I know that I got a friend list of the people that actually engage with my content, not only engage, but they get engagement from engaging with my content as well. So it kind of gives me a hot sheet of my friends. So I know that everybody on my friends list gets engagement. So if I ever need to do something, if I'm making another page, I can invite those friends. So my personal page became my funnel that I could push everything through. But then the pages is where you make your big monetization. And my camera died. But the pages where you make your big monetization. So now I go make pages and create pages, and then I funnel them through my profile to get the engagement. So every
Gotcha.
time I make a new page, every time I make a post, I go comment on it. I'm liking on it. I'm hearting all the comments that's in that. And then I'm sharing it to my page as well. And it just starts taking off.
Got you. Sweet. And my last question is, so with brand, we were talking about niches earlier. Let's say, and this is me personally, I've done this, but let's just say the content that you've created initially isn't aligned to a specific niche. Would you go back and delete everything when you do get success, or would you continue putting things out until you get success and then go back and delete what didn't work? Like, how, if that question makes sense, how would you go about that? Would you go back to try to adjust and make it right, or would you continue until it hits and then not worry about what happened in the past and just keep moving forward? How would you approach that?
Keep moving forward. Right. Only time I delete content is if I'm afraid that like the lines of the guidelines have changed and that content might get me a violation. That's the only time I'm deleting content. Other than that, the good thing about content is that, well, in public situations, we go out and if we do something bad that isn't good, we get embarrassed, right? Everybody in public saw you do it. You saw you trip and fail. They saw you but if you put out bad content that you're embarrassed of, the good thing about that is nobody sees it. It was bad content. So it's there. Nobody's going to see it if it's bad. And sometimes it may not even be bad. It might just not hit the topic. So I keep all old stuff because you never know what can be sitting on your digital bookshelf that might hit 2, 3, 4 months or even a year down the line and come back to relevance and might even hit. Because I've had content that is 6 months old and come back and get resurfaced and hit. So I just always keep it because even if it doesn't hit, at some point in line, like you said, now you might go 6 months down the line, you're making content, then you can go look back on that content and you can start to see the changes, how you've grown, where you was. And from those stepping points too, because you got more of a clear perspective after 6 months, you can be more honest with that first content you was making than you could at that point in time because you have more understanding and more growth at that time too. So I always keep it there because it's always a learning process no matter what. You can always learn what to do, but you can always learn something from somebody or something. It's up to you to determine whether or not what you're learning is how to or how not to do it.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that. Yeah, we're coming up on an hour. Sarah, do you have anything top of mind, man? Anything you'd like to get at, because I know when you were interviewing, you was like, okay, enough about me. But realistically, bro, you're super valuable in more ways than you probably think. Or maybe you know it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you know it, but is there anything top of mind that you'd like to maybe talk about before we wind down or, yeah.
No, I think from my end, the after questions that we had here were really good too. Like 100%, because like I just learned something huge about Facebook that I had never thought about before. I didn't even know you could go live like that. I've been doing it with TikTok. And, it's been interesting, but I'd be very curious now to jump onto Facebook, whether it's Instagram lives, and just kind of test the waters, because each platform's so different. The rules are different. How people interact are different. You might get even a different demographic. The demographic on TikTok, believe it or not, it's very like politically focused, a lot of younger crowds, a lot of hot girls just trying to like talk to the camera to get attention from that perspective. So I wouldn't be surprised if Instagram and Facebook carry a completely different demographic that might be interested in something that I'm actually talking about. The stuff that
Mhm.
might not be hitting on TikTok could be hitting on other platforms. So the idea of like always exploring and trying out new things, I think is super important. I've also heard of things like Kick and Rumble now. Jumping on those perhaps is just kind of test the waters and see how those kind of perform. So you've definitely left a couple of gems with me, Leonard, to like start to think about how to grow my content and how to really kind of put my content into other platforms that might be a little bit more relevant in that platform.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
with
bro.
Facebook too, going live as well. Like once you earn to a monetization point on Facebook, you get stars, which is basically like TikTok's gifts. But with the stars on Facebook, you get the 100% of what.
What?
Yeah, it's no cut. So if they send you each star is a penny. So if they send you 100 stars, you got $1, bro. They don't take no cut from that. And then on top of that, if you get enough engagement on your page with your lives, you get in-stream ads on top of that as well.
Whoa, that does not exist on a lot of almost anything, I think.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's the thing with Facebook. There's so many different ways, and like you can literally monetize every piece of content you put on Facebook, whether it's their post, whether they're reels, whether they're lives, whether they're your story. You can monetize everything that you put on Facebook if you got enough engagement for it. So you can go live with that. And the thing I try to look at and tell people too is like Facebook is a new untapped market because it's been here a while, but they've changed so much in the past year and a half that a lot of people don't even understand that they've changed because things of TikTok going off and YouTube shorts taking off with content creators and people making money during the pandemic. All these other platforms had to start competing with themselves. And I kept telling people, I was like, man, 2021 or 2022 is the battle of content creation. All these platforms are going to have to battle with each other. And they did. You started seeing everybody start upping their ad revenue. Everybody start paying content creators more because they knew other platforms was doing it. So I look at it as like the internet is it's almost like when TV first came out right now for content creation. The internet is the broadcasting station. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, they're the big time networks. They're the Disneys. They're the motherfuckers that own CBS and all these other. Now the content creators, we're the channels, and the content we put out,
Yeah.
the shows. So as long as you start getting to that point to understand that the people that go to MTV don't also go to VH1 for the same reason, or to go to Disney or Nickelodeon. So you know that when you're on certain platforms, why that audience is there, and you can make your content to that. Because there's videos I've had on TikTok hit 1,000 views. Then I take that video and go put it on Facebook, and it hits over 1 million.
Yeah. Yeah, you've talked about that. In fact, I learned it from you on the first time that we had that talk is contextualize, right? So what I learned from Leonard is he pretty much posts the same video on each different platform. So maybe that's something that you could do, Serge. And as far as the live, I was just thinking about this. I was like, yo, if you have the equipment or ability to do this, you could maybe just open up another laptop separate from what you're doing on TikTok, the separate platform that you're recording on TikTok. And that way you're not doing anything twice. So you have another camera, and on that camera, you could maybe start going live on Facebook and essentially start building that audience that way. And I just had this idea as we were having this conversation. So, if you have the ability, maybe just opening up another camera, going live on Facebook as you're doing your stuff on TikTok, and start seeing which one starts resonating the most and kind of going from there.
Yeah, and I'll give you a little trick too for TikTok live, because I don't think I've talked to y'all about this either. So if you're going live on TikTok, make you a backup account. And all you're doing on that backup account is following people who gift you. That's all you're doing on that account. Every time somebody sends you a gift, you follow them on that account. So when you go live on your main account, you go to your backup account and you send it to all of your friends that you're following on that account. And it's basically a hot call sheet of people that you know that watches your live, interacts with your lives, and sends gifts without you having to ask them. So you're basically, in sense, having a profile to create a hot call sheet.
Wait. Time out. What the hell? So, oh my God. There you go.
So you had a
basic-
question. Go ahead.
So basically what you're saying is, okay, I have because I do have technically 2 accounts. I could do this as 1 account. So basically what you're saying is everyone that likes and interacts with my live, follow them with that secondary account. And in doing so, I'm essentially creating a spreadsheet of all of the accounts that fuck with me, that basically like to see my content, that like to interact. But then how is it that you send them a link, or what is it that you do afterwards to kind of
Yeah, so you'll need like 2 phones or a phone and a PC, right? So whatever one you're going live on for your main account. So like say you got 2 phones. So you go live on your main account on one phone, then you got your other phone and you're on your backup account.
Mhm.
Then on that backup account, you go to your live. And then on your live, you have that send button, right? So then
Mhm.
you send that to everybody that's on your followers list on that hot call profile. As you jump
Oh.
into your live, you're on that backup and you're mass sending them all the invites and they're gonna wave come into your profile. So then not only is it you have a hot sheet of letting them know when you're going live, but you have a hot sheet of people that you know is actually interacting and send you money.
Bro, so this is awesome because so what I've been doing is like I have a Discord community, but that helps with my Discord, but not everyone's in my Discord. And then I'll post on my YouTube like comments like, "Oh, you know, I'm going live." But since my main live is TikTok, geez, my mind is blown. If I could just use my followers from one account, I basically, like you said, send a mass message to everyone when I'm live, and it's like everyone I actually fuck with will see it immediately. They'll get notified for it, basically.
Yeah. And you
That's
know that
awesome.
they already want that content and there are people that invest money into your content as well. So yeah, it's a game changer to have.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna do that today immediately.
Well, there you have it, guys, man. That was fucking awesome. I first of all appreciate you guys. I literally